and say hello, Ms. Heather, before we get started.
Good day, good people. I'm excited to be here and really continue this really important conversation. When we talk about the disorder that is really the cause of disruptions, I wanted to make sure that I go back and define some of the terms that we were using. And I'm going to add another one today, just some information that came up in my research. So I'm going to start off with that one, and I'm going to go back.
Okay.
And I'm going to define the others. So in my research and in my study, I came across this theory by Karen D. Horney, and it's called neurotic trends. And so it's defined as the attitudes towards life that provide a feeling of safety and security under times of confusion and distress. But it's actually a false sense of security and a false sense of safety. And I think when we start having this conversation, I think you're going to see that be illuminated in some of the things that we're going to talk about today. Again, I'm going to repeat it one more time. It's the attitude toward life that provides a feeling of safety and security under times of confusion and distress, but it's actually a false sense of safety and security that we get. And so I'm going to go back now and define some of the terms that we were using on our last discussion that I know are going to come up again today. So the definition that we're going to use of disorder is a state of confusion. And we're going to sum it up and use it that way. And we're going to expand on those, of course. The next one is disruption. And disruption is defined as a disturbance or problem which interrupts an event, an activity, or a process. And so the process that we're talking about now is the process of family, the process of community, the process of living. And so disruption and how that interrupts the family. And then finally, we're going to define family as a group of one or more parents and their children living together as a unit. So that's intentional. So again, that's a group of one or more parents and their children living together as a unit. So, and then the final one that you'll hear us talk about probably from now on, we've been talking about it, but it's called acceptable culture. And so this is kind of a mindset that Calvin and I have been talking about and trying to come up with a way to understand it. And so what we came up with was a term called acceptable culture. And for us, it was about the norms and what is considered normal behaviors, and that's in air quotes, established at home and accepted. But that also is carried over to the areas of where we work, we play, we worship, we shop, we learn, and we gather together. So that is what happens in your household, the ideas that you grew up with. Then you take those same ideas to school, or you take those same ideas outside in your neighborhood, and it becomes your norm. And as you continue to keep that mindset and you continue to follow that path of behaviors or what is normal behavior for you, it starts to expand, and either people accept that this is your behavior and mindset, they can start to repeat the same mindset and behavior, but ultimately the environment that you're in is accepting of the behavior, and then it becomes the norm. And so I think in our communities we see a lot of that by just dumping trash. So if you've been, driving down the street and you see somebody just throw an entire bag of garbage out of the window, food out of the window, I mean, it's a shock to me to actually see that, just to see that behavior, that you don't even care enough to take it to the next destination. You're just going to throw it out in the middle of the street. And that person's mind, that's an acceptable part of their culture. It's acceptable to do that. It's acceptable behavior. That's normal to you, and that's okay. It's not okay for me. I'll speak for myself. That's not okay for me. And so these are some of the disruptors that we're going to get into today.
Well,